Scared is Better presents A Girl's Gotta Eat. Lil took off her flower tiara that she'd carefully woven into her long black hair. Did the pink irises look amazing with a hot pink leather skirt? They sure did. But she wanted to feel the 4 a.m. wind running through her hands, and the tiara was much too delicate for that. As she laid it on her passenger seat, she couldn't help but have a twitch of irritation run across her glossy lips. Lil should have known better than to invite Lance. What kind of freshman guy takes advanced comparative ancient religions, power in society? Creepy Lance did. He was just quirky enough that Lil thought it would be perfect to take him to Astral Wave, the best live music and vibe fest in California. The magic of Joshua Tree without the corporate smut of Coachella. A 3-day festival with a location so secret, Lil had to use her burner account on IG to find it. Although Lil had provided the car to sleep in, food for three days, paid for gas and drinks, Lance had still backed out at the last minute. His empty seat mocked her. She let her mind wander, thinking about how hungry she was, and she prickled with irritation. The wind cooled her face as she leaned out, trying to ignore the empty feeling in her stomach. She stopped for gas in Buckeye, Arizona. The gas station was bright and clean, she noticed, as she swiped her card. The card reader beeped in rejection. Of course it did. She looked over at the interior of the gas station, straightened her snakeskin white tank top, and clicked over to the counter in her white go-go boots. It was not that Lil did not sense the tow truck driver's eyes on her. She just refused to let it bother her, refused to even glance his way. The tow truck was set in the shadow of a tree in the median. The enormous driver pushed his body back in the seat to belie his 6'6" stature. Lil was never the type to let someone spook her. She pawed through all the options for water, looking for alkaline that would help the dry Joshua Tree desert become more bearable. Alkaline water was the only water that tasted like water used to Lil. The tow truck driver watched, trying to be as still as possible. Spook the doe and the hunt becomes harder, he told himself, as he watched her white go-go boots reflect the neon lights of the gas pump. Lil topped off her tank, juggling her alkaline water, her cell phone, the keys, her holographic white shoulder bag. She tried to put in gas and pop open the water at the same time, distracted by the top falling on the ground. Lil tried to loop her purse over her arm, causing her keys to jangle loudly. The tow truck driver saw her nearly drop her water bottle. She haphazardly put her sparkly purse on the hood of the Camaro. The girl was so wrapped up in trying to put in gas, she would have never seen him coming. For a giant guy, the tow truck driver was quick, stealthy. He took pride in how fast he could move. He glanced up and saw the camera. The twinkling red light aimed directly at the gas pumps. The driver tracked the trajectory of the camera, and he knew it wouldn't even catch the bumper of his truck. Patience is a virtue, he told himself. Lil was back on the road in moments, blasting a techno music that made her heart beat wildly like ancient drum beats. The road was nearly empty heading into California. All the traffic coming from California was as busy as rush hour. Glancing back, she could only see a set of lights far away, and her speedometer raised to 75 as she felt she had the road all to herself. She was an hour into her drive when she realized she had drank the water much too quickly and began looking for a rest stop. The tow truck driver was set at 65 miles per hour, steady, and no reason to raise some random police officer's attention. He could see the lights ahead of him and even the slight silhouette of the driver moving as she drove. He saw a slim arm jutting from the driver's window, and he sat up a little straighter. So it begins again, he muttered. Finally, Lil saw the turnoff to the rest stop, and she was relieved to see the flicker of lights showing soda machines and a kiosk of maps. The parking lot had 3 RVs parked near the bathrooms, so Lil pulled into a parking space just a few slots away. She could see the bustle of parents rounding up their toddlers and kids, strapping them into safety seats. The chatter of children had always irritated Lil, so she didn't even look their way. And besides, she had to pee so bad she almost ran to the bathroom. The tow truck driver slowed to a crawl, letting the RV's convoy onto the exit ramp. Bye-bye, he said gleefully. Their lights were disappearing just as he saw the girl's bathroom door swing open. He found the darkest corner of the parking lot, turned off the truck, and let it coast into the parking spot. The bathroom, while not filthy, still assaulted Lil's nose with cleaning agents and urine. The entrance was a blind corner, turning into a row of stalls of brushed metal and that gleamed under the obscenely bright fluorescent lighting. The clicking of her heels echoed as she finally relieved herself. He was out of the truck in mere seconds. After it came to a rest in the dark. He went around to the bathroom along the rear of the building, size 13 boots, as quiet as slippers, on the concrete. He slipped on his work gloves. She was washing her hands with pink soap that made her think of rosewater she used to drink. She even had a pinch of nostalgia thinking about how the smell of roses that believers used to bring her in the halls during ceremony days. She heard the door, purposely muted as it was quietly shut. He could even smell her perfume, he thought, as he pulled the ski mask over the lower part of his face. Lil checked her lipstick and moved her lush black hair behind her ears. Suddenly he was in the bright light. There was no hiding now. He straightened up to his full height, his massive shoulders blocking the automatic light from the door, the huge arms and chest that were big enough to make people stare in public. He ached to see her tiny frame dwarfed, scared, and the fear that her eyes would widen to. She loved the gleam of bright red lipstick. She loved it even more when her smile widened, her teeth pushing out the sides of her lips. She felt a flicker of movement behind her. The warm satisfaction rolled through her. The fluorescent light caught her eyes, widening. 5,000 years ago, an ancient culture had called Lil the screech owl. As she gazed into the mirror, she could see her eyes becoming perfect circles, the pupils a giant black dot surrounded by gleaming gold irises. She shook her soft waves of hair. Her canines grew to 3-inch daggers, dwarfed only by her red lips. She took one last look in the mirror, the stark white of her teeth elongating as she admired her reflection. There was an audible click as she turned around. She heard the man grunt in fear. She saw his eyes grow wide as he took in her misshapen, unhooking jaw. Her owl eyes saw the dark energy wafting from him. A thrill tittered over her. Tipping her head back, she made her jaw show the gaping dark between the glittering teeth. She could only think about how hungry she was. When she saw the enormous man standing there before her, she immediately forgave lanky Lance. The man turned to run so fast that he slipped on the tile floor. To Lil, it was a few 100 pounds of meat slamming onto the ground. As he scrambled to get up, Lil's teeth chattered in anticipation. At that point, she could see he wet his pants. Her quick intake of breath cooled the whole room, sending waves of fear through the truck driver. Every thought of scrawny, witty Lance fell away. She said, her head cocked, "This works." She had seen them dressed in armor, in silk, in denim, in cheap cologne, and it never made a difference. She adjusted her hair, barely glancing down, because a girl's gotta eat.